Hello everyone, I'm Michael. Welcome to today's class. In marketing, the most valuable resource is people's attention. People and businesses have always competed for attention. And because of today's technology, the battle for focus is more intense than ever. A 2013 study has shown that the average person switches screens 21 times an hour and has an attention span of 8 seconds. This is down from 12 seconds in 2000. Marketing companies know this and are spending millions of dollars figuring out how to hack your brain to make you spend money. If you understand their tactics, you will be able to recognize them and not be fooled. In today's lesson, we will be looking at two parts. Part 1 discusses the advertising essentials to grab people's attention. Part 2 talks about how advertising manipulates our choices and what to do about it. While many companies produce their own advertisements, most companies hire an advertising agency. These agencies are highly skilled at developing modern, stylish advertisements that grab people's attention. Advertising agencies have two key departments: media and creative. The media department is in charge of buying media for the advertisements, like spaces in magazines or billboards in the metro. This is where the money that a company spends goes toward. The creative department is responsible for making the content of the advertisements, which they don't charge any money for. Some advertisements are very successful and make a lasting impression on the viewer. So, what are the strategies and tricks advertisers use? An effective trick that advertisers have been using for a long time is to play with people's emotions. The combination of images and words creates a message that may trigger a reaction and affect people's emotional state. When people get into an emotional state and associate it with a brand, they are very likely to remember that brand. Some examples of emotions used are happiness, nostalgia, sadness, fear, and anger. In the popular AMC drama Mad Men, Don Draper is a creative director for one of the world's top advertising agencies in New York in the 1960s. He tells his clients that advertising is based on one thing: happiness. Brands often want their ads to make people smile, laugh, and feel positive. An example would be most jewelry store advertisements, which show a man giving jewelry to a woman who is thrilled to receive it. The happiness shown by the actors attracts people's attention, and they may think buying this product will give them happiness. A similar emotion to happiness is nostalgia, which is the desire to return to a happy time in your life. When an ad connects the viewer to their pleasant memories, it makes a good connection between the pleasant memories and the brand. On another episode of Mad Men, the Kodak camera company wanted an advertising campaign. They were introducing a new picture projector machine and wanted to call it the wheel because it spins as it shows the pictures. For his pitch, Don Draper takes the machine and fills it with pictures of his own children, with sweet memories of them growing up. Seeing these pictures makes the Kodak executives feel overcome with emotion. Don tells the Kodak company that instead of calling it the wheel, it should be called the carousel, after the children's amusement park ride with horses that spin around. Don explains this device isn't a spaceship, it's a time machine. One of the most powerful emotions advertisers use is sadness. Sadness is an emotion that many people try to avoid in their daily life. However, experiencing sadness can cause someone to have a catharsis. A catharsis is when a person releases strong emotions they have kept hidden deep down and feel relief afterwards. After someone releases their inner pain, they will feel better. This is why sadness is a very powerful choice to use in an advertising campaign. An excellent example of bringing out this emotion is a heartbreaking advertisement by MetLife, Hong Kong. It shows a father reading his daughter's letter describing how she loves him so much, but she knows that he always lies. She says that her dad lies about having lots of money and lies about not being tired after work. This message is very effective because adults sympathize with wanting their children to look up to them. Deep down, they know that their children will love them regardless of how much money they earn. The underlying message of the ad is that parents love their children more than anything. Caring for your children includes buying life insurance, so they will be taken care of in any situation. Moving on to a more forceful and primal emotion used in some advertisements: fear. Fear is a natural instinct found in the wild, which helps us to react to threats in order to increase our chance of survival. An example of using fear in advertising could be a brand of toothpaste showing what might happen if you don't brush your teeth. The images of rotten teeth may scare people into changing their habits and prompt them to buy the brand of toothpaste. One way to keep a brand in people's minds for a longer period of time than a single ad is to use repetition. This method requires buying much more media space, so usually larger companies will use their marketing budget to do this. An extra advantage is that it takes away the ads competing for people's attention. People have a set of expectations for what advertisements should look like. A statement, a picture, lots of information about the product, the company name, and the logo. When advertisements defy people's expectations and show simple ads without text, it feels refreshing and pleasant. In this Lego ad, there are no words, only 2 images and the logo. The viewer must figure out the meaning of the ad by themselves. People passing by will be surprised to see such a minimal ad and will remember it more than if it had words explaining the images. Up to this point, we've seen how advertisements can capture your attention and play with your emotions. Now, let's look at some of the psychological strategies that advertisers use to try and hack your mind into buying products. One of the most powerful secrets in advertising is to create a panic. Once you understand this deception, you will start to see it everywhere. Take notice when a business says that there is a limited supply or limited time to buy their products. An example of panic in advertising is a Steam sale. Steam is a popular online video game marketplace which occasionally advertises huge discounts for a very limited amount of time. If a customer sees a 70% discount on a game they want, they may buy it in a panic. A clock is shown counting down the hours of the sale. This causes the customer to imagine the feeling of disappointment when they miss the chance when the clock runs out. This is a prime example of fear of missing out. Here's a quick question for you. Which of the following campaigns doesn't fit the description of creating a panic? A. A company advertises holiday deals. B. An exclusive limited edition product. C. An ad uses a countdown clock to highlight their offer time. D. A supermarket gives out membership cards to customers for earning points. The correct answer is option D. Membership cards play a key role in the marketing strategy for customer loyalty, but it has nothing to do with creating a panic. Another psychological trick that advertisers use is known as social proof. This is where an individual sees many other people buying something, so they are convinced to follow the crowd and buy it as well. This trick is often used by hustlers in London, UK. When they advertise by calling out to people on the street, a few people will quickly walk up and eagerly buy things. In reality, these fake shoppers are working for the seller and only pretend to buy the products. This lowers people's defenses and makes it seem like a really good deal. Now let's look at a question here. Which of the following choices is not an example of social proof? A. The New York Times bestseller lists. B. Celebrity endorsements on social media. C. A gift card of a shopping center. D. Customer ratings and reviews on a shopping website. The correct answer is option C. Gift cards are often used as an effective marketing tool to engage customers and keep them coming back, while the other three marketing practices are using the social proof strategy to convince customers to follow the crowd. An additional mental hack that advertisers use is they convince you that you have a problem in your life. The product then sells itself as the obvious solution to the problem. This works because people can rationalize buying a product if it is the solution to a problem they think they have. In reality, without the advertisement, they would not be aware of the problem and would not think of spending money on a solution. For example, many beauty creams show a close-up of a place where people commonly have wrinkles. They will show the person with wrinkles as undesirable. The product will then be shown, and it will demonstrate how it can completely get rid of wrinkles. After using the product, the model on the ad will look desirable and happy, which is what everyone longs to feel. However, if the viewer never saw this advertisement, they wouldn't likely be very worried about wrinkles. In this beauty cream advertisement, the viewer associates themselves with the model. The model's dissatisfaction with their wrinkles is felt by the viewer. After the product is applied, the model looks truly happy and beautiful, which creates this feeling in the viewer. The viewer then associates this pleasant feeling with the cream they just saw. In our course, the characters talk about the types of models in advertisements.
But what about advertising? Look at all the money companies pay for models in advertising.
You mean the use of beautiful or strange-looking people?
Exactly. It's all around us because it works. People notice it.
As far as I'm concerned.
This is partly because humans show empathy and can feel what others look like they are feeling. Also, people naturally look for a character to identify with in a story. Just like most people identify with the main character in an action movie. We will identify with anyone in an advertisement that looks sort of like ourselves. Now that we've learned what association means in the business world, can you think of an advertisement you've seen before that uses the strategy of association? For example, sporting equipment companies use successful athletes in their ads. Disneyland displays their amusement park with happy families laughing together. Restaurants show pictures of their food consumed by groups of friends having fun. And cosmetic companies sign celebrities to represent their products. These are all examples of advertisers using the strategy of association. Another popular strategy that marketers use is called product placement. This is where a company pays money to show their product in the movie or television show. One famous example of product placement is featured throughout the Transformers franchise. All of the cars that transform into robots are built by the company General Motors. When companies use product placement, it gets around the issue of people not paying attention to advertisements. During commercials, viewers may play a game on their cell phone while waiting for advertisements to end. But with product placement, the product becomes part of the actual content, so it is much more likely to draw the audience's attention. In the movie The Truman Show, a man named Truman is part of an elaborate reality show. However, he is unaware that millions of people are watching him live his normal life. This movie takes the idea of product placement to the extreme because everything in the show is for sale in the real world. The actors on the show try to advertise the products they are using, which begins to raise Truman's suspicions that his life is a television show. This makes us consider how product placement can take away the realism of movies and television when actors play their roles and advertise products at the same time. However, some viewers don't mind product placement because it increases the production budget and reduces the need for traditional advertisements. While some methods of advertising are obvious, others, such as product placement, are more subtle. How can we protect ourselves from falling for the advertiser's tricks? Whenever you notice an advertisement, analyze how it makes you feel. Look at the ad from the marketer's perspective as well as yours. Also, think about the subtle details of the ad that are directed at your subconscious mind. Things like colors, voices, animations, fonts, and camera angles all have an impact on the viewer's mind. In our course, one character shows strong mental discipline and critical thinking when they say,
As far as I'm concerned, it's just a way of fooling people into buying things that they may not need. It's all based on appearance, and I don't like it.
I don't disagree with you.
As far as I'm concerned, it's just a way of fooling people into buying things that they may not need. More advice for protecting yourself from the allure of advertising is to avoid exposing yourself to ads when you are tired or stressed. You are more vulnerable to their influence when you are in this condition, so make an effort to ignore all advertisements. Consider the negative aspects of the products that aren't being shown to you. What damage is caused to the earth by manufacturing this product? Try to be aware of your emotions at all times in your life, especially when watching advertisements or going shopping. Controlling emotions is just as important as controlling spending habits. If you think you really need to buy something, wait 48 hours to see if you still feel the same way later. Now, let's take a look back at what we've learned today. In the first part, we talked about the advertising essentials companies use to grab people's attention. An effective trick that advertisers have been using for a long time is to play with people's emotions. Some examples of emotions used are happiness, nostalgia, sadness, and fear. In addition to this, advertisers have also been using repetition and simple ads without text to keep a brand in people's minds for a longer period of time. In the second part, we looked at some of the psychological strategies that advertisers often use, such as creating a panic, using social proof, selling you a problem, building associations, and product placement. In the last part of today's lesson, we gave out some tips in terms of what to do when surrounded by so many ads in our daily life. Once you start to notice all of these tricks and strategies we have learned about today, your mind won't be affected by their power. Now that we know how advertisements will try to attract and influence us, we can relax and stay in control of our own minds. But we must always keep our minds active and be aware of the messages that surround us in daily life. That's all for today's lesson. This is Michael. See you next time.